Hello, I am Dr. K.S Badarinarayan, the Principal of MS Engineering College. I extend a warm welcome to you for a discussion on the transportation problem, finding out the basic feasible solution using the row minima method. Let's consider a simple transportation problem in which the materials or the goods has to be transported from the different warehouses to different destinations. Let's consider the W1, W2, W3, W4 warehouses with 250 units of availabilities at these points, and let's also consider the destinations D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 with the requirements of 100 units at D1, D2, 200 units at D3, D4, D5, D6. The cost of transportation per unit of goods transferred is also indicated in the matrix. 9 is the unit cost of transportation for transporting the items from W1 to D1, and 12 is the cost of transportation from W1 to D2, etc. Now we have to ship the goods from the different warehouses to different destinations. Now what is the criteria? How do we ship it is the question. So that's the problem to solve. So in the row minimum method, in the first row we select what is the minimum. So the first minimum is 6. So irrespective of whatever the cost figures are, we take the minimum, row minimum. So that is the criteria here. So when we take this particular cell, that is W1 to D4, the allotments takes place. Now what are the requirements here? It is 200 and available is 250. So therefore I make a assignment or an allotment of 200 units. That means 200 units are shipped from W1 to D4. So that completes the requirements at D4, so I cancel off that particular column. And the availability is reduced to 50 units because 250 minus 200 is 50 units. That's what is available. So in the next row, the minimum is 9. Either I can take this 9 or this cell. Now if you look at now what is the availability is 50 units and what is the requirement is 200 units. So therefore I can only transport from W1 50 units. Now let's say I have transported 50 units. So the requirements here reduces to 150 units. Now if you look at the row, 250 units have been satisfied. Therefore the first warehouse requirements are met. So I cancel off that particular row. Considering the second row, again the minimum is occurring for W2 to D2, that is 3. So if you look at now, the availability is 250 units and the requirement is 100 units. So therefore I can transport 100 units. So that satisfies the requirements at D2. So I cancel that. And the availability here for 250 minus 100, it reduces to 150. Now the next row minimum value is now the 5. So I can take this particular cell, that is W2 to D5 or W2 to D6, both are having the same minimum value. I can choose any one of them. Now let's say if I choose this, 150 units is what available, 200 units are required. So therefore I can only transport 150 units, so I transport 150 units. So that satisfies my W2, that is W2 availabilities are over, therefore I cancel this W2. And here the requirements instead of 200, 150 is satisfied, therefore I will have a requirement of 50 units. So in the third row, again if I look at the minimum, so I have got 6 here, 9 here and 3 here. So that is from W3 to D5. So my requirements are 50 and my availability is 250. Therefore, I can transport 50 units from here. So 50 units means now if I look at the total requirements at D5, it's 200. Therefore, this gets cancelled. D5 column gets cancelled and this reduces from 250 to 200. Now if I look at the next minimum in this particular row is now the 6. So 6. That means that is from W3 to D1. Now how much is available? I have 200 units and I have got 100 units to be required there. So therefore if I give 100 units, that means I transport 100 units from here to here, my requirements D1 is satisfied, so I cancel up that particular column, and this 200 turns out to be again 100, right? So if I look at now the total what I have is only 150 here, but 250 has to be done, that means there is another 100 has to be allotted. So next again I check for the minimum row minimum, so the row minimum here is again 9 and 11. So I take this particular row minimum 9 for which I have 100 units available and 150 units what is requirement. So I can give another 100 units here. So that takes care of the row availability is all, 250 is over, therefore I had to cancel off this particular row. So if you look at the column D3, we have assigned 50 here and then for 100 here. So the 150 has been allotted, therefore we are left with now 50 units. So now the last row, if you look at the W4, we are left with this particular 11 and then 10 here. So the minimum row minimum is 10, so therefore the requirement is 200 and the available is 250, therefore I can transport 200 units from W4 to D6, so that entire requirement at D6 is satisfied, therefore I cancel that. So this 250 now reduces to 50. So if you look at now, I have finally one single column left. So requirement is 50 and availability is 50. So therefore I can transport 50 units from W4 to D3. So that completes now all the allocations. Suppose if I start now counting the number of cells which have been allotted. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. That means to say 9 cells have been allotted. So I look at for the number of rows plus number of columns minus 1, that is n plus m plus minus 1. So it is also equal to 4 plus 6 plus minus 1. So that is 4 plus 6 minus 1, which is also equal to 9. The number of rows plus number of columns minus 1 is equal to 9. The number of rows what we get, the number of assignments what we get is equal to n plus m minus 1. That means to say we got a basic feasible solution. So the next slide. So we see actually what are the assignments that have been taken place in a neat format that's been recorded here. The final step is the read off for the row minimum read off. So from W1 to D1, now what has been transported is 50 units. So as you can see is the 50 units and the cost is transportation is 9 units. So therefore, so you get 50 units into 9 will get you 450 units. So in the similar way, I record or tabulate all the values, that is find out what is the number of units transported and the cost of transportation per unit. So multiply all that. So total, if I make a total, I get a total of 7,050. So this is the total cost which is involved for transporting the from different warehouses to different destinations. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to MSEC channel.